looks like I made 8,000 subscribers. Thank you everyone who's been following me and everyone who's been spreading the word about my videos. It is thanks to you that we have reached this milestone. And with that, as promised, we will reveal another of my top 5 worst Transformers of all time. And this one is going to surprise a lot of people. Not because it's on the list, but because of where it is on the list. My number 3 worst Transformer of all time is Supreme Cheetor. Possibly the most infamous toy on this list. Now, this one was donated to me once upon a time by a guy that goes by Turnip. I still love that he goes by Turnip. And I want to thank him very much for donating it, because I wouldn't buy the frickin' thing. So, that being said, let's hurry on and get to the review. As always, we start in beast mode where, yeah, I don't think I thought this out very well. I think a venue change is in order. Yeah, that's about right. So, for those who are unfamiliar with Supreme Cheetor, I envy you. But I will have to educate you. Supreme Cheetor was the top price point of the Beast Machines toy line. Released in 2000, it was the biggest and most expensive Transformer that Hasbro had produced in over a decade. And thanks to the internet and growing awareness of the BotCon convention, Hasbro actually hyped up this toy. Yeah, it's kind of like getting dragged to a movie by your friend who keeps going, "Oh, you're going to love it, it's going to be so good, it's going to be so good." And then you just walk out feeling really unclean. Then the usher comes and kicks you in the balls. The big hype was the Beast Mode, which they described as the size of a house cat. At 9 inches tall and 20 inches from tail to nose, that's kind of a small cat, but I'll give him that one. Who's a good kitty? Who's a good kitty? No, Cheetor, you do not bite Daddy's finger! Bad Cheetor! Bad Cheetor! First thing I can't help but notice is how many shades of yellow we've got going on here. I mean, we've got at least 3 distinct shades of yellow, and also a fourth if you include the translucent plastic. I mean, one of the big brags about this toy was accuracy, but I don't remember Cheetor in the show looking like your yellow crayons melted together. Oh, didn't I mention it? Hasbro's bragging included show accuracy, because the Beast Machines line was known for one thing: being hideously inaccurate to the cartoon. Looking at cheetah mode, the legs look nothing like the show's. They have sharp points where the show model has none. The legs are more spotted than the arms, which is backwards. The hips are too scrawny, and the chest is so bulky I expect the Trojan army to be hiding inside. There's also decorative details like these arm blades and these shoulder crystals that should have been folded away or hidden somehow. Instead, it looks like his bones are trying to escape. But when it comes to accuracy, nothing matters as much as the face, and looking at that, I'll tell you, the ears go the wrong way, the mold and paint on the sides are off, his eyebrows should be more prominent rather than wearing eyeliner, and a lot of techno and organic mixes are ignored, which is a problem all over the toy. Now, molding I can kind of excuse, that's tough to change, but then they went and painted the lines on his face black when they're purple on the show. That alone is just pure laziness. Oh, it's time to paint the lines on the face. Well, the machine's already set to black. It's supposed to be purple. We've used that color all over the toy. I really just have to flick that switch. Okay, here it goes. Black. Now, let me be honest. Unfortunately, on this one, a gimmick is broken. A crank located in the back would have allowed his head to turn left and right as well as open his mouth. Which is fine if you just want Cheetor to be looking at a sudden prey he's just noticed. Not so good if you're trying to get him to talk. Which, in that case, all he can really do is disagree with you. Which is fine. The toy doesn't agree with anybody. I'll also say the missiles weren't included on this one, and one of the leg guards is missing. Now, normally I have a strict rule against reviewing a toy that is broken or incomplete because it unfairly colors the review, and I want the toy to stand up as much as it can. But only Turnip is crazy enough to send me a toy this big. And besides, nothing short of a Wonka golden ticket's gonna change my opinion of this thing. So we'll look at his other gimmicks. Pulling a ring on his back located here will activate his lights, which makes his brain blink green. And also, for some reason, his heart? I don't know, what the hell? Pulling it back even farther will cause the fur on his back to furl, and we'll get a roar. Did I say roar? I meant the sound of an ice machine breaking down. Also, that made a couple of lights in his chest blink red. I have no idea why. It also gave his brain a second blinker too, which is more activity than the designer's brain had. You will also notice that I have not changed Cheetor's pose the entire time. That's because despite all of those obvious little joints you can see, not a single one actually amounts to anything. Okay, to be fair, I take that back. He does have one point of articulation that's actually good. His midsection can actually fold left and right, which does make him look like he's turning. That is a good joint. The rest are absolutely useless. The arms are so gimmick intruded they can't be moved, and there's so many joints in the rear legs, it's a miracle he even gets all 4 paws on the table. What you're left with is a house cat-sized brick with a blinking brain. Now, usually I don't discuss transformation because it's usually not worth mentioning. In this case, that's the exact problem. For as big as this toy is, the transformation is bare bones and boring. All you're doing is straightening out the legs and flipping out a new head. That's pretty much all there is to it. I think a lot of people forget that a transformer is 3 toys in one. An action figure, a toy vehicle or animal, and a puzzle. And all 3 elements have to be there. On Supreme Cheetor, the most difficult part of transforming him is trying to keep one of these little belly flaps from falling off. On to Robot. Oh God, what is wrong with your face? He looks like he's about to eat my children if I had any. So let's run down this head. The green is overpainted, the black is overpainted, there should be no spots on the sides of his head, the eyes are the wrong color, and this time they left the purple stripes off the face completely, even though the exact molding for it is there. You should all be very, very sad that this is as accurate as the toy line ever got. There's also a lever in the back of his head for a nutcracker gimmick, or nom 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 action. They felt the need to paint in his tongue, which just makes him look all the creepier, and when you push the lever down, it'll turn his eyes green, which also isn't an accurate color. But left open, it looks like he's in the middle of an exorcism. And we'll end the look at the head by looking through the crystal skull on top, where, when pushing the lever down, we can see his brain throbs. He has a pulsing brain gimmick. At least I can take comfort in knowing that I can give Cheetor as much of a migraine as he gives me. This is where I have to be fair and unprofessional, as I have no blackboard that will hide all of my shelves. All of the sharp edges that make no sense in Beast Mode do make the Robot Mode more accurate. But this is also why I have to reject so many Plastic Addict suggestions, because even the designers forget sometimes that a Transformer is more than just the Robot Mode. I mean, they had the biggest budget they'd had in over a decade to make this toy work in both modes. But no, he has to have a flashing green nipple instead. That said, the chest is still too far out and not nearly wide enough. The arms and arm blades are missing a lot of spots. He's not supposed to have giant green stomach craters, and his different shades of yellow just make him look too broken up.
I've seen fanfics depict Cheetor more accurately than this.
This is where the articulation just gets weird. On the left arm we have an okay elbow, shoulder rotation, bicep swivel, and fingers and thumb. The shoulder can even go outward a bit. However, with no wrist, his palm is stuck facing downward. Even rotating the elbow doesn't work because the arm blades will get in the way. And between that and his arm's gimmick, he ends up stuck in permanent talk-to-the-hand mode. I mean, you can compensate by bending his fingers downward, but you can't do it by bending his wrist because... Cool?
Hey, who remembers that scene in Beast Machines where Cheetor was taking out hordes of Viacons by stretching out his fingers like a spork of doom? I don't either!
So we have an arm crippled from an intrusive gimmick. On the right side, we have an arm crippled from an intrusive gimmick. This is where the missile launching comes in. They fire when the elbow is bent all the way back. But to do this takes two hands and a really weird bend. Doing it right will result in a sound effect of the weakest laser shot I've ever heard. And that's it for that arm. Oh, the fingers still bend, but again, his hand is stuck pointed down, and this time the shoulder doesn't move outward. It just kind of disconnects and hangs there for some reason.
And in one of those arms, you need to stick this, his sword made from his tail, which looks like it could snap the second it hits something. And, of course, looks absolutely nothing like it does on the show, which, on the show, it pretty much just looks like a boat paddle with a handle on it. How do you honestly screw that up?
And thanks to all those gimmicks, all those electronics, and that massive chest, you are left with one of the most top-heavy Transformers ever.
And scrawny, gangly, over-jointed legs to stand them on. Good freaking luck.
Oh, they tried to salvage it. I mean, there's rubber on the bottom of his feet for friction, and full-down heel spurs, except they don't reach the ground and don't hold any weight because they're jointed the wrong way. If you've got a good hour to kill, just try posing him with his legs spread out without toppling over, or the joints giving way to a full-on split.
And let me finish with this. Throughout this entire review, I have neglected to mention the exact price that this toy went for. When it was first released in 2000, Supreme Cheetor was going for the price tag of $50. $50 for a toy that is both under-engineered and way over-engineered.
Its gimmicks destroy all the fundamentals of what a good toy should be, and it makes way too many sacrifices in both modes to allow for them. It's still not close to being show accurate, poorly represents his character, and serves as little more than an 18-inch tall eyesore.
Even the $15 Cheetor did better than this. And that one's not a good toy either. But let me wrap up with this, just so you have something to think about. At the height of his infamy, Supreme Cheetor was going on Amazon.com for the outrageous price of $10, with free shipping. And even then, it took a while to get rid of him. This one cost me nothing, except the 40 seconds it took to get it out of the shipping box. I still feel ripped off. Which brings me to the end of my most requested Plastic Addict review of them all, and leaving you with a final warning. There's still two toys that are worse.